This family mother is now facing 60 years in prison, and how we got here is nothing short of insane, as she truly is a family vlog nightmare story. It's been 4 years since I first started covering Ruby Franke, and little did I know that only 4 years later, she would be risking 30 years in prison. And that also goes for what we were seeing on her vlog channel compared to what was actually happening. Because clearly, she wasn't filming herself tying her kids down with duct tape and not feeding them. I guess she was only filming herself not feeding them. Yes, I am not joking for those of you who don't know who this is. For those of you guys who do know, yeah, it's no surprise. But Ruby Franke ran a massive YouTube channel known as 8 Passengers, gaining hundreds of millions of views while it lasted on YouTube and over 2 million subscribers. And she came onto my radar in about the middle of 2020. The first thing I heard about her was that she denied bringing a lunch to her 5-year-old who forgot to pack it for preschool.
Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food.
And I guess she did this to teach the kid a lesson and also bragged about doing so on her family vlog channel. So after seeing that, I had the assumption there was going to be way more questionable parenting on that channel. And there was. Like taking away their oldest son's homework and forcing him to pay them to get it back.
I went around the house and I have
throwing them away.
Yes.
That's my homework.
Whoa, whoa. Oh, whoa.
Homework.
So you're all like, what? I have your attention now?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? You're all going to listen?
So
You have something in the bag that you would like out. You can pay cash for it. So you learn the value of your items. Or you can give what? Dad, I'll let you take the conversation from here.
You can do an equivalent value chore to get it back.
what's it?
And whatever isn't claimed by the end of the day goes in the garbage.
The whole channel is just loaded with extremely weird nonsense. Like imagine being a teacher who's used to stuff like, my dog ate my homework. But then you have this kid with a very real story saying, my mom stole my homework and she's holding it for ransom and I couldn't afford to pay it. So that's why I don't have it. That is just so bizarre. I also made a video back then about the same son's bed situation because apparently the oldest son did a harmless prank on his younger brother, as brothers do. And then I guess his punishment for this was to have his bed taken away for months. They also sent him to some sketchy outdoor camp for troubled youth. And when he returned, they still didn't give him his bed back. He must have done something seriously bad if he got his bed taken away for months, one would think, right? So what did he actually do? Well, he told his younger brother they were going to Disney when they weren't. And then apparently on another occasion, he aimed an airsoft gun at his brother. So apparently because of that, he lost his privileges to his bed and his bedroom, so he had to sleep on a beanbag in the living room. And there's just so much more to talk about. I mean, there are channels making hour-long plus videos on just the stuff that happened before the trial. But at some point, she stopped uploading to the 8 Passengers YouTube channel. But she definitely didn't retire from YouTube then because she started uploading to a new channel called Connections. And the first time I covered that channel is when she lost her marbles because she found out the school that her daughter went to was going to have a dance recital to an edited version of Florida Low. In this version, the only lyrics were apparently low, 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 low. Apparently that was enough to trigger a 20-minute car rant where she is so angry that she was solid red. But little did I know that Connections was a collaboration channel with a woman named Jody Hildebrandt. And let me just tell you, that's just a whole nother can of worms. So here's a quick example of the content that Jody Hildebrandt would make in collaboration with Ruby.
Welcome to the Empowering Joy class. I'm Jody Hildebrandt. I am sure you're here because you have a desire to heal, a desire to have joy in your life and connection in your relationships. I have that same desire, not only for myself, but also for you. And so I'm very aware that many people are coming and they feel like they can't figure out how to have those things, joy, connection, clarity. And the truth is that you can. Those of you who have been given a diagnosis, I want to tell you that your diagnosis is not who you are. It's not you. The truth is that you can change. You just need education.
Right. These are the people who want to teach you how to parent and live your life. Empowering Joy and CA. As you saw, Jody was a life coach and therapist, but seemingly worked as an opposite one because it ruined so many of her clients' lives apparently. And it's safe to say things just took a very weird turn when Ruby moved in with Jody, because she was still married with Kevin. Kevin's the father of the family, and he also ran a separate YouTube channel where he deep cleans cars, and he was also frequently on the 8 Passengers family, as you saw previously. And my understanding of this situation is Kevin let himself get coerced by Ruby to become a distant parent and let Ruby and her younger kids move in with Jody. But back to Ruby moving in with Jody, here they raised Ruby's kids together and did joint coaching for other parents, which they charged $21 a month for, it seems like. And here they did coaching videos like this. And with hindsight, this video becomes very alarming.
So what the mom sees is very superficially. She sees that this child has a habit of swearing. And that might be the case, but what she's not seeing is the deeper issue, which is this child doesn't respect his mother. This mother is saying, don't swear, don't say cuss words. And the child's saying, I'm going to keep saying it. Do you see how swearing in and of itself is not the problem? It's the in your face. It's the entitlement. It's the I'm going to do what I want to do. This is going to infiltrate into other areas of your child's life. If he wants to do something, he's going to do it. If he wants to say something, he's going to say it. If he wants to take something, he's going to take it. And I don't know why she says, I'm a very open-minded person. I don't know what she means by that. It's like she's apologizing for wanting her 5-year-old not to be swearing. And so she's trying to control me. She's trying to control those who read this to not think badly of her. This is why your child doesn't respect you. How do you get your child to respect you? Paradoxically, you hold boundaries.
Okay, so apparently holding boundaries means duct taping them and not feeding them. Put them in jail and throw away the key. And yes, it was Jody's house the kid escaped while being duct taped. So apparently that was going on behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the front face of them was essentially posting stuff like this, where it was like, my motive is my purpose for doing something either in truth or distortion. These people have to be psychopaths. This is all nightmare fuel. But after the son escaped, that's when the public realized, oh wow, this has to be so much worse than what we thought. Because overnight, the mom went from being a quirky Mormon mom with an extremely questionable parenting style to, oh, she's straight up evil, and that's putting it light. The things here are just so insane that I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of like Netflix show in the future around the lines of surviving the 8 passengers. And some of these things were found in a search warrant that NBC24 obtained, where apparently they were treating these wounds from duct taping Ruby's kids with cayenne pepper and honey. And again, they're doing these things while selling courses on how to parent. So if we continue down the timeline, the first virtual hearing that actually happened in their court case last year was actually crashed by so many viewers trying to join in. And of course, people didn't mute their mics and they didn't turn off their cameras, so the whole thing just sounded like a Call of Duty lobby. So that court hearing ended pretty quickly. Then on October 10th, the judge decided to issue an order to seal all records in the Ruby Franke child welfare case. And this happened because of the sensitive information about the children that was accidentally shared to the public. So overall, this is just horrible for their kids. They didn't ask to be there. They were just dealt terrible parents who failed them at all levels. And speaking of parents, Kevin then filed for a divorce against Ruby. And continuing with the timeline of events, Ruby then confirmed that she would plead guilty to all 4 counts. Then she followed through on that a few days later. Jody also then pleaded guilty to all 4 counts of CA. And Ruby blames her actions on being deceived into thinking the world was evil. Here was her final statement before being sentenced, and I guess this is a reminder that US court microphones are garbage.
I would like to make a statement without any intent to change my stipulated sentence. For the past 4 years, I've chosen to follow counsel and guidance that has led me into a dark delusion. My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place, filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need. My choice to believe and behave this paranoia culminated into criminal activity for which I stand before you today ready to take accountability. Jody Hildebrandt was never my business partner, nor was I ever employed by her. I have never received wages from her or connections. Jody was employed as my son's counselor in 2019, and in 2020, I paid her to be my mentor. It is important to me to demonstrate my remorse and regret without blame. I take full accountability for my choices, and it is my preference that I serve a prison sentence. Thank you to the officers in Santa Clara and the Ivan City Police, Nick Hellman, Brian Palufo, Cy Pickuvit, Mike Pondoyo in Tobler, John Ward, D. Lewis, and Chief Flowers. You were the angels who came and saved my children. I especially want to thank Detective Jay Bate. She plucked me out of a situation I didn't know how to get out of. And the moment she handcuffed me was the moment I gained my freedom. You were not the controlling ones. I was.
So it's hard to know if she really meant this or if she was saying this for a lighter sentence, as actions speak way louder than words, and these actions have been ongoing for many years. Who knows though, maybe this was her way too late wake-up call. But either way, it was pretty clear that her ex-husband and her two oldest kids were not looking at her when she had her speech.
Jody and I inflicted the injuries, not the hospital. Thank you to DCFS, the Children's Justice Center, Judge Basil, and other key adults. You've gathered my children under your wing and offered them love, compassion, encouragement.
But after those statements, she was then sentenced.
The sentence will be that Ms. Franke serve 4 counts, 1 to 15-year sentences based on her convictions for 4 counts of aggravated child.
So as you heard, she was just sentenced to 1 to 15 years for each sentence, in a total of 4 sentences. So the max sentence would technically be 60 years, but her crimes in Utah has a maximum sentence of 30 years. So both her and Jody are looking at between 4 and 30 years in prison each. Ruby announced that she will not be appealing her prison sentence, and how much time that she's actually going to serve, that's going to be decided by the state parole board. Something to highlight though is Ruby's oldest daughter celebrated the arrest back in September of last year. Today has been a big day. Me and my family were so glad justice is being served. We've been trying to tell the police and CPS for years about this, and I'm so glad they finally decided to step up. And clearly she has the same attitude about this because she wasn't looking at her mom at all in court. So for now, it seems like the nightmare for them is over. It's just a shame that it had to happen to begin with. And for those of you wondering, YouTube did ban their channels shortly after the details came out. But as of right now, this is probably one of the worst family vlog channels to ever be on this platform.